Hi, I'm Eric, and so if you're watching this video and you haven't watched my other video, the introduction to the Law of One, you can go and watch that now. It's on my channel, and this video is about the first session, session one of the Law of One. This is what the book looks like. You can also download a PDF copy on the website llresearch.org, or if you search it on the internet on any search engine, you can find it. It'll probably be the first result if you search the Law of One. Okay, so I'll get into it right away. I gave a little bit of information about the first section in my introduction video, so have a look at it if you haven't seen it already, because this is what we're diving into as the first session. At this point, the scientists, Don and James, haven't been instructed how to set up channeling properly, so they're just doing it their own way. And Don becomes the channel for Ra after Carla says something about he's choosing the channel, the person who's channeling, and after a 2-minute pause, Ra resumes speaking through Carla. Ra explains that he had trouble using Don as a channel because of tension and distraction. After another pause, Ra tries someone named Leonard. And then Ra says they're a difficult channel to receive. So Ra is the channel that's being received. And it goes back to Carla once again. This is where they start asking questions. And Carla is channeling Ra at this point. So they ask Ra, what is your purpose? And Ra says they've been to the planet, which is Earth, our planet, in ancient times, and they transmitted the Law of One. Perhaps this means that they taught it to people, which in fact they confirm later on. They go on to explain that in the Confederation Ra is a part of, many of them have not physically been on Earth. So there's this confederation of extraterrestrials, which I talked about in the introduction video. And Ra is part of this collective of extraterrestrial beings that are all unified around the Law of One. He refers to what he calls distortions and how he is attempting to remove them. So this term is important in the Law of One, and it basically means an altered version of love. And love is the highest truth. So there's no distortions with love. All creation is part of love, but all of creation is also a distortion to some degree. Obviously, love is not distortion, so that goes without saying. He says he will continue to do this until the cycle is ended. So that's Ra. The cycle being the precession of the equinoxes. And so the precession of the equinoxes, they don't mention this in the first chapter, but it's a 26,000 year cycle approximately. So every 2,160 years, there's 12 astrological signs that the sun will proceed through every 26,000 years. So in the year 2012, the sun rose in the sign Aquarius. So we are in the Aquarian age as of right now in 2019. Before that, it was the age of Pisces. So Ra goes on to say that he is not part of the time on the Earth. So does that mean he exists in another dimension or another universe? Or could it be that he's in another dimension within this universe, but outside of time, in a place where eternity exists? We really can't be sure at this point. The questioner then asks Ra if he is the same Ra that is known by the Egyptians. So Ra states that the name Ra is part of his vibrational identity, or what he refers to as a social memory complex. So this term, social memory complex, basically means a collective consciousness. It's talked about quite a bit in the book, and as a side note, it could be compared to Carl Jung's collective unconscious. However, it seems like what's true for Ra is that he is innately aware of this collective knowledge that his society has. So we have a collective unconscious. It's things that are true for everyone, but it's not consciously known. It's not things that we're immediately aware of, and it is it's explainable according to Carl Jung, and we can study it by studying people psychologically. So Ra also says that he contacted the Egyptians and contacted other peoples in South America, in which he calls the lost cities of South America. Apparently, humans were taught about the Law of One in these places, and we're going to learn about what the Law of One is in my videos. But priests distorted the message of the Law of One. And so when Ra could no longer be of assistance to humanity, they left Earth. So in the text, the next question was not recorded properly, but it does have the recording of Ra's answer. So Ra states that he believes the universe is infinite, but this has not been proven or disproven. So even Ra doesn't know if the universe is infinite, which is quite interesting. However, he states that the self is infinite. The identity of this concept of infinite self is a self that is in unity with the Creator. So our identity where we're infinite is one where we're in unity with the Creator, if that makes any sense. He goes on to say that there is no right or wrong. So it seems like Ra is a nihilist. Haha, I made a joke. He explains that this is because an action which can be perceived as right or wrong will inevitably be reconciled by the dance that the mind-body-spirit complex does, so it sort of goes away, and that the distortion was not necessary. So what he's suggesting is that we should not label things as right or wrong, but we should accept them as truths, and maybe also realize that they're temporary. So Ra goes on to explain the nature of the self. He says, you are everything, every being, every emotion, every event, every situation. You are unity. You are infinity. You are love, light. You are light, love. You are. This is the Law of One. So this is the first time he actually goes into detail about what the Law of One is, and it gives us a better understanding of what Ra's beliefs are. The questioner asks Ra if there is any knowledge a person can understand to accelerate their awareness and what he terms planetary consciousness. So the questioners, the scientists, want to raise planetary consciousness or of human beings on Earth as a society as a whole. So Ra explains that he cannot visibly see the difference between the questioner and others, because one person does not raise their own consciousness, but we all raise our consciousness. So teaching and learning are of the same distortion according to Ra. He asks the questioner to think about this, and as he says, the lesson therein plays an important part in our experiences. So what this means is that whether you're learning or teaching something, you should be doing both. If you're really striving to understand the knowledge. So then the questioner asks Ra if they can contact him in the future, and Ra agrees to do so. They also ask how they may use Carla as a channel more effectively. And Ra gives them a few details. They say, hold your hands and pray over this cup of water, and then give the cup of water to Carla. So that's the end of session 1, and I'm going to end this video here. Thank you so much for watching. Over and out.